Peter Jennings, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.
Firstly, to the developments in the South China Sea, are you surprised to learn that an Australian warship is there with US warships at the moment conducting military drills?
Actually, no, Andrew, because I knew in early February when the Parramatta left, she's on a 4-month deployment through Southeast Asia, calling in many of the ASEAN capitals. Of course, what wasn't expected at the time the ship left is that we would have such a tense situation emerging in the South China Sea and further north, with China really putting on a major military display that I think is all about trying to intimidate its neighbours as we come out of the coronavirus crisis.
If we talk about the coronavirus crisis, what has China been doing in the South China Sea during the past few months?
There's a couple of things that are worth pointing out. One is that I think China must have isolated its elite military units so that they could put to sea with confidence that the crew was not infected. And what have they been doing in the South China Sea specifically is exercising with their aircraft carrier, the first aircraft carrier, doing landing, takeoff operations, doing mid-air refueling. They've also been, with other forces, quite aggressively posturing towards the Philippines, towards Vietnam, and even declaring the creation of 2 new administrative units, 2 new governing units across some of the claimed territories. So this is another step up of aggressive Communist Party behaviour in terms of sort of military muscle flexing and claims of political control over that part of the world.
Do you think it's caught the United States off guard as its own ships are crippled by coronavirus?
I think China, by its design, had 6 weeks or more of early preparation time to put their military into a better position than the United States or indeed us. And that has given China a small tactical advantage. But we do have a number of American warships operating in the South China Sea and in the East China Sea to the north. So America is by no means away from the scene. And what we have then is a sort of a ramping up of what has already been for some years a fairly heated competition between naval and air forces of the two countries in this area.
If we can stay on the South China Sea, it is of course a crucial trading route for oil supplies. Today the Australian government's announced almost $100 million will go to creating a national stockpile. Is that enough for Australia?
Well, I think it's a very welcome first step after years of successive Australian government saying that there was no problem and just-in-time delivery from overseas was fine. Now we have, I think, an acknowledgement from the government that there is a need to do more. And so I'm very pleased that some money is being invested into the purchasing of fuel, but I think that there will be significant additional expenditures as well.
We don't currently have the capacity to store it, so it will be stored in the United States. Do you think that we need to look at that?
Yes, of course, this is the problem, is that what we have in terms of fuel farms, fuel storage facilities, have eroded quite literally over the years to the point that our onshore storage capacity is only suited to the just-in-time constant delivery from overseas. Now, it's great to have bought this fuel, but if it's stored in the United States, we still have the problem of how do we get it to the Australian mainland if we find we're in a period of, significant conflict or trouble. And so, yes, it's obvious. We have to have these fuel farms constructed here in Australia, and that is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do that, to give us any meaningful onshore storage capacity.
Peter Jennings, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.